Kanye West is getting sued for sampling KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions. What up, where's your boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Okay. Kanye West is getting sued, bro. And it's not directly KRS-One, let's be clear. A lot of people are running with it that it's KRS-One. I'm putting KRS-One in the title just so you understand what's going on. But he's not getting directly sued by KRS-One. I'm going to read to you what is going on, and then we're going to have a discussion. All right. The company that owns the rights to the classic hip-hop track South Bronx has filed a lawsuit against Kanye West and his business partner for sampling the music by KRS-One and his former bandmates from Boogie Down Productions without getting legal clearance. The claimants are alleging that Kanye uploaded a composition containing samples of South Bronx to Stem Player before selling 11,000 Stem Players. That's a lot of money, champ. They have also indicated that the 22-time Grammy winner reached out to them in order to gain clearance, but that they never granted him permission to move forward. Therefore, the company now seeks to impede Kanye's usage of the music until a settlement is reached. So there's more to that story that this article doesn't say. They have a certain dollar amount they're trying to get, and it also goes on to say, that's not in this particular article, is that they told him no, he did it anyway, right? And then they came back to the table. They said they even promoted the song, because it's the song, I believe, with Andre 3000, the song that he couldn't put out on the digital release to all the streaming because Andre declined to do a release for it, and he dissed Drake on it. So that's why Andre was like, I'm not going to sign off on this. So that song never got released on digital platforms, but it did get released on his Stem Player, which you don't need. Apparently he didn't need Andre's permission to put on a Stem Player, but they still say if you're going to sell it, we need our bag from it. So they said they even promoted that his song was going to be the song that sampled South Bronx was going to be on that Stem Player, and they still never received any compensation or a settlement from Kanye. So let me break this down what's happening. KRS-One doesn't own that Boogie Down Productions music anymore, right? That music is owned by another company, which they didn't write it in this article. This article is very thin on Vlad TV for some reason. It's very thin. But that other company, I don't have the name in front of me, they own that music, the South Bronx, all that Boogie Down Production music from back in the late 80s, which we all grown to love and know as classics to this day. I was the biggest Boogie Down Production fan, probably one of the biggest in the world. I used to dream of rocking that BDP jacket with the sunglasses, the hat. I wanted to be like KRS-One back in the day. So this company has the rights to that music. They bought it some kind of way. And I've always heard that Boogie Down Production, that entire record label, right? What was the label that Boogie Down was on? That record label that they were on was always funny style, right? I don't really know everything about it, but I remember hearing that Boogie Down Production. Let me finish. Let me look this up because I gotta remember what the name of that label. B-Boy Records is down with us. B-Boy Records was under Jive RCA Records. I used to want to get signed to Jive RCA so bad. But B-Boy Records was a part of Jive RCA. And I'm going to do a little digging right here just to remind y'all what's going on. So Boogie Down Productions was an American hip-hop group originally composed of KRS-One, D-Nice, and DJ Scott LaRock. DJ Scott LaRock was murdered on August 27th, 1987, 5 months after the release of their debut album, Criminal Minded. The name of the group, Boogie Down, derives from a nickname for the Bronx, the South Bronx section of New York City. The group pioneered the fusion of dancehall, reggae, and hip-hop music on their debut album, Criminal Minded, and contained frank descriptions of life in the South Bronx during the late 1980s. I used to bump this record like crazy, thus setting the stage for what would eventually become gangster rap. I used to bang this record. I was in in an apartment, and I was on the 3rd floor. You would open the door to the building on the 1st floor, and you would hear my music banging BDP on repeat. This, LL Cool J, Run DMC, and quite a few other classic hip hop records, right? That's all I played, just hip hop all day. Here and there, a little Keith Sweat here and there. I just played everything that was popular at the time, New Edition, whatever it was, right? But with that being said, Boogie Down Productions, they was political scientists, teachers, gangsters, they was all that. But at some point, after Scholar Rock passed, Boogie Down Productions went down because KRS-One changed it. I never understood why he left Boogie Down Productions. He just became KRS-One. I don't know if the label owned the name and he wanted to get from under them. I don't know what happened. I would have to look more deeper into that. But KRS-One went by his own moniker and started recording under KRS-One. I think that's when he left B-Boy Records. I've always heard B-Boy Records, right, has some funny business going on, right? I don't know what the funny business was, but at some point, they sold. Now, I know this is allegedly. I don't know. I'm not going to say they have funny business. I don't know 100%. But somehow, some way, he left B-Boy Records, and whatever music was on B-Boy Records got sold, which is what happened. People acquire. They do acquisitions of intellectual property or whatever, or the masters or whatever you want to call it. They switch hands. People selling masters to this day, right? So they must own just like at one point Hasbro, the toy company, owned Death Row Records. Only a few years ago. It was the weirdest thing. Death Row Records was owned by a toy company. It was almost laughable. But they sold it again and they sold it again, and now somebody has, I believe, a company, I think a foreign company has it. But actually no, Snoop just bought it back. I'm sorry. Snoop just bought Death Row Records back, and he took it off all of the streaming platforms, and he's making his own platform where you can hear Death Row music once his platform is up and running. I believe that was the last I heard about it. But somehow, some way, Kanye sampled South Bronx, which producers do, and a lot of times they don't always get permission. With an artist as big as Kanye, he has to get permission. But Kanye thinks he can do what he wants to do, so he put it out without the permission, and now they're suing him. Just like you just heard. Well, I don't know if you just heard it, but Proswell, this is the most strangest thing ever. Proswell said that the Fugees, the Score album, I believe, who was it that they sampled? It might have been Roberta Flack. I can't remember who they actually sampled. I would have to you can look on Vlad TV. He has a video describing that the Fugees sampled someone, did not get clearance. Pras said put it out anyway. And when they dropped it, the person, it was a group overseas, like in I think it was Germany or Sweden. He thought they would never hear it. They heard the song and they sued him. And they had to stop the record until they paid him. And they ended up paying him, I believe it was $3 million. They ended up owing $3 million for that one sample because they did not clear it. And Pras lied and said he did clear it. And they ended up owing $3 million to some random group over in like Germany somewhere, wherever it was. I don't remember. But I know it was over there in those areas near Germany, if it wasn't Germany itself. He thought they wasn't going to hear it. So the sample clearing stuff is really serious. You have to clear those samples. And what happened, Kanye did not clear it, and now they're in court. So I believe Kanye is going to have to settle this. He will not be able to just ignore this. This is one more thing on his head. Now, to be clear, KRS-One has nothing to do with this. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if KRS-One even gets paid from that old music. Even though he's the writer, I don't know if he even gets any money. He should, because he's the writer. He's guaranteed 50%, if not more, of that music. But if he owned it, they wouldn't be owning it saying it's ours. So he clearly does not own it. It was owned by B-Boy Records. So I don't know if KRS-One is even in this lawsuit in any capacity other than as a writer. I don't think he has anything to do with it, but people are running with it. KRS-One is sampling Kanye, no, suing Kanye. No, KRS-One is not suing Kanye. So I just thought I would clear that up. But I think Kanye has a penchant of doing whatever he wants to do. And this time he got caught with his hand in a cookie jar. All right? This is not KRS-One versus Kanye. KRS-One has nothing to do with this. But I thought the story was interesting anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Kanye wrong? Will Kanye have to pay? Or is this just something that's going to get thrown out of court? CLBMG.com. Hit the like button. Share the video and hit notification bell. All right? I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
CLB.